boogity, boogity, get up on your feet.
Hello. You know, isn't it kind of fun meeting this way? I mean, here it is, Wednesday, middle of the week, hump day, and we get to talk about what happened in Bristol and look forward to what could happen in California. I mean, does it get any better than that? I mean, social media, is that not the coolest thing? I mean, I tweet, I get tweets from you guys, I get Facebook messages from you guys, we talk on YouTube. I mean, it's like doing TV 24/7. And you know what? I like doing TV 24/7 because I don't know if you've noticed or not, I think you've heard that old picture, or you've heard that old saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, what if you got a picture in 1,000 words? La-da, bonus! And that's what you get with EW. You get the bonus round. So, let's don't talk about Bristol. Let's talk about the appeal. The appeal of the sport? No. The appeal that got overturned. The verdict that got overturned on Chad and Jimmy and Rick and the Hendrick crowd. Now, I'm looking at my rule book again. Got to get you one of these. I got me one. Anyway, let me explain something to you, okay? Here's how it works. If the punishment has to fit the crime. And in this case, the punishment was excessive. I felt that way. I know Rick Hendrick felt that way. I don't know who else felt that way, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people did. Because when I looked at those C-posts that were taken off the 48 car, when I look at the process of which it was determined to be illegal, and the fact that they penalized them right on the spot almost, you're going to be suspended for 6 weeks, you're going to get a $100,000 fine, you're going to get 25 points. I mean, and the car had never even been through, technically it had never been through inspection. See, this old school, this way they used to do it back in the Bill Gazaway, Dick Beatty days. Walk up to your car. Yep. Don't like the way that looks, son. You're going to have to fix that. What? What do you mean you don't like the way it looks? How's it supposed to look? That was the way they did it in the old days. Because we didn't have all the templates. And we didn't have the golden surface. And we didn't have the claw. And the claw. We didn't have any of that. We had one template. It was called a silhouette template. It went down the middle of the car. If it fit the silhouette of the car, that's great. You could have the rest of it doing whatever you wanted to do. Hanging, slip, sliding, flying, whatever you did. Do you remember the Twisted Sister? That was before we had the claw. The claw straightened all that up, right? Anyway, they didn't get the opportunity. The 48 team didn't even get the opportunity to have the claw put on top of their car so they could see what was wrong with it. That in and of itself didn't sit well with me. I didn't feel good about that. The penalty was severe. And I think that's the leg that Rick and Chad had to stand on. They didn't put the templates on the car. They just said it didn't look right. There were other cars, I was told. Now, secondhand, I was told other cars had similar issues. They were allowed to fix their issues before they went through inspection. So when I add all these things up, I say, what's going on? Does reputation have something to do with this? What do you think? Just between me and you, what do you think? If you're a first-time offender, I don't know. Second time, I don't know. 4 or 5 time offender, maybe. I'm just saying maybe. I'd like to think every case is judged individually, but maybe reputation has something to do with it. In Chad's case, I think it probably did. Anyhow, I didn't like the procedure, I didn't like the severity, and I think that the appeal board, the first time you go before these guys, their hands are tied. It's already been handed down. The guys at the track already had said, here's the punishment. So the appeal board, you know, what are they going to do? There wasn't a whole lot they could do at that point. Middlebrook, on the other hand, the appellate officer, chief appellate officer, I think he's called, he could look at he could look at both sides more objectively. And I think that's what he did. And he certainly reduced, you know, the suspension and the points. Excuse me. But he let the fine stand. Why? Because that's what it should have been. if those C posts were out of line, all that other stuff was excessive. The fine should have been all that there was necessary to say, look, you're out of spec, you're out of line here, and this is what we're gonna fine you $100 grand for that. Now fix it and let's go racing, boys. That's what it should have been. So please don't get all up in arms about, oh, they let them off and it's because Rick did this or Rick did that or Chad did this or Chad did the money. Well, don't go there. Just look at the facts. Nothing but the facts. You want the truth? I think you can handle the truth. So now let's move on to another issue, the Bristol racetrack. My gosh, folks, I am confused. Imagine that. Me confused. I thought, I walked, now first of all, let me tell you, I was flabbergasted when I walked in the TV booth Sunday and looked at the grandstand around the racetrack. I could not believe my eyes. I thought we were having a practice. I said, well, they must, you know, where's everybody at? They must have gone, surely everybody didn't go to the bathroom at once. Surely they all didn't go get a hot dog at once. The place was, they said 102,000. I'm going to say 80, okay? I'm going to give them I'm going to be nice and say it was 80, but that's half of what that place holds. The joint holds 160,000 people, for heaven's sake. What do we need 160,000 seats around a half-mile racetrack for? Excuse me, because not too long ago when the economy was good and when gas was cheap and food was cheap and hotel rooms were pretty reasonable and you could drive your camper to the track and you could spend a weekend there and afford it, we don't have that anymore, folks. And those are factors in why the crowd was the way it was Sunday. Plus it rained all Sunday morning. It rained right up to 11:30. So they didn't get the walk up that they normally get. So I'm looking at all these things. And then of course this is when I'm looking at the grandstand half full and I'm trying to figure out what could it be. Drop the green flag and folks, that's just, listen, you go to Richmond. That racing at Bristol the other day was like Richmond. Now you say, well, if I want to see racing like Richmond, I'll go to Richmond. I want to see racing like I saw at Bristol. I understand, but it's better. The leaders, Keselowski and Matt Kenseth, side by side at Bristol, lap after lap. Down low, up high, down low, up high. Switch over, crossover, move over. You know, the whole 9 yards. And there were wrecks. We had a big wreck right off. Took out 5 great cars. Jeff Gordon wreck, Tony Stewart wreck, Kenny Schrader wreck. I mean, we had a lot of wrecks. Well, not a lot of wrecks, but we had wrecks. We only had 49 laps of caution. Now, listen, I've been to Bristol when it was a 500 lap race and we'd ride around there for 200 laps under caution while they cleaned up messes. Do you want to see that? I don't. So, I thought the racing was good. I don't blame the track, but I blame all the circumstances that go into putting on a great race weekend. And the things I named, the economy is the biggest culprit in my mind. Let me ask you something. If you could go to Bristol and buy a ticket for $25, if gas was $2, if hotel rooms were $100, if camping at the track was $50, if the prices of everything were reduced, would the racing at Bristol be better? See what I'm talking about? Those are symptoms of why the crowd was down on Sunday. I say the economy. I don't think it's the racing and I don't think it's the track. But I have to tell you, just between you and I talked to Bruton Smith. You got his attention. He doesn't like seeing those grandstands not full. And he's sitting right now as we speak thinking about what they're going to do to make the racing better, to help to fix the track. Maybe it's tires. Maybe Goodyear needs a different tire. Dale Jr. said they did. Maybe the progressive banking. Maybe they need to grind that out. They got a big old concrete grinder. Get in there and grind that out. So you grind out the progressive banking, you come with softer tires, you reduce the prices of everything a little bit, and I bet you'd pack that joint. Those are pretty simple solutions. Wouldn't take all that much to do, wouldn't cost all that much, and it would improve the racing. You can't improve the racing, but it'd make you like it better. How's that? So, Keselowski, dominant day, led half the race. Had a great car. He told me on Saturday afternoon, he said, I'm going to win this race. This is the best car I've ever had in my life. He's not that old, but still, that's a great compliment to his car. And, you know, he dominated. And it seems like that's his second race in a row. He won the fall race there. This is his second win in a row. It seems like Bristol is a track where once you figure it out, that concrete, it's not like asphalt. It doesn't change a lot. Weather doesn't have a big factor. A lot of things don't change. So once you get the setup and get the feel for that place, you can duplicate it every time you go back there. I know. Trust me, I know. I did it. So the track, the concrete, the weather, all those things are not big factors when you get a car set up for Bristol. I thought it was a fantastic race. I will say this, I'm not real sure I understand the explanation on Kenseth beating Brad to the line that one time on a restart. All I've been told and all I've heard is this guy, the pole guy, the #1 guy, whether he's over here, the guy that's on the pole has to get to the line first. If not, then you're considered to be illegal and they're going to black flag you. They didn't do that Sunday. They came up with some reason why that satisfied everybody, I guess, and Keselowski was okay with it because he won the race, and Kenseth was okay with it because he ran second. So, pretty good race, pretty good weekend. Oh gosh, I forgot. Dale Jr. gets into Mark Martin over at Vegas. That was uncalled for. Jr. admitted it. I'm not calling him out. He admitted it. He lost his cool. Mark was a victim of his own reputation. What do we know about Mark Martin? Mark Martin will pull over. He'll almost wreck getting out of people's way. He'll pull over if you're faster than he is. And so I think Junior thought when they come off a corner and he had that run, he figured Mark would pull over and let me go. When Mark didn't, it irritated Junior and he tapped him and knocked him up in the fence. That was uncalled for. That's kind of losing your cool. But what happened at Bristol? Listen, you got 2 big 3-inch tailpipes sticking out the side of that car, the right-hand side. They come out right even with the sheet metal on the side of the car. 2 holes where the pipes are, sheet metal. You can take that sheet metal and push it in. It's just door skin. And when you do, what's out? What's left? Those big pipes sticking out there. Just bad time. Just wrong place, wrong time for Jeff Gordon. They made a little contact, light contact, but those pipes cut that left rear tire down and Jeff spun. That's nothing you can do about that. That's just racing at Bristol. So Vegas, maybe. I could call Junior out a little bit on that one, but Bristol, no way. That's just racing. Going to California. Ain't even got a long way to California. I mean, we're not even, we've been doing this 10 minutes now, we're not in California yet. Anyway, they've shortened the race, 400 laps, or 400 miles. I think that'll make a better race. We're going out there to this track where the speeds will be, this will be the fastest track we go to as far as entry into the corner speed entry. Probably somewhere around 210 miles an hour coming around that long front straightaway. So you got really fast turn, really fast entry, pretty low banking, and not a lot of grip. And that's what creates a lot of trouble for these guys out there. The cars slip, slide, and they hit those cracks in the track. You'll hear us talk about those. Probably too much in your opinion. But the big black strips where they filled up the cracks with tar, cars hit that and the cars will do this. And as long as it's doing it with the front, that's okay. But when it does it with the front and it catches and the back snaps around, that's when you have bad wrecks. So, it's a great racetrack. Beautiful. 2 mile. Fast. Beautiful facility. Right where, I mean, couldn't have a prettier track. Pit road is awesome. Best pit road we go to. Track's wide. Huge. You run 5 wide if you want to. Should be for some fun racing. I'll tell you why. That shortening of the race will increase the intensity. And that's something we haven't had a lot of at California is intensity. So, all the gold in California. You know the rest of it. See you next week.